Ladies and gentlemen, this coronavirus is growing rapidly, and China is actually going to be a roadmap to this thing exploding as a pandemic. It really technically is. The last time I looked, I believe they said 26 countries are reporting coronavirus victims. So now this came out in NPR. Coronavirus cases have more than tripled in past week, 20,000 sickened in China. So this is February 3rd, 2020. Wow. China says it has more than 20,000 confirmed cases of the Wuhan coronavirus, representing a huge leap from the 4,400 cases reported as of last week. Chinese health officials said Monday morning that 2,829 new cases have been diagnosed in the previous 24 hours alone. Outside mainland China, 9 countries or regions are reporting double-digit cases of the coronavirus, led by Japan, with 20, according to a global dashboard created by Johns Hopkins Whiting School of Engineering. The respiratory virus has killed more than 427 people, 425 in mainland China. The first coronavirus fatality outside China was reported in the Philippines over the weekend. Hong Kong reported its first coronavirus death on Tuesday in a sign the economic toll. Now, they are saying that they think this may actually harm China economically. China's stock markets were pummeled Monday, the first day of trading since the Lunar New Year holiday, with the Shanghai Composite Index falling by nearly 8%. Trading was halted for hundreds of Chinese companies after prices for their stock dropped by 10%, triggering a mandatory hold. Despite those sharp declines, many markets in the US and elsewhere were holding steady early. The S&P 500 rose by about 1% in its first hour of trading, and the Euro stock, come on, um, Stocks 50 index also rose slightly. The US currently has 11 confirmed cases of the coronavirus, known as the 2019 nCoV, with patients reported in California, Massachusetts, California, Massachusetts, Arizona, Illinois, and Washington State. The patient from Washington State has been discharged, a spokesperson for the medical center said Monday. The US has imposed new restrictions on people who want to travel from China to the US. As of 5 p.m. last night, the federal government started banning anyone traveling from China who isn't a US citizen or an immediate family member of an American from entering the US. NPR Rob Stein reports. The policy followed announcements by American Airlines, Delta Airlines, and United Airlines that they would suspend routes between the US and mainland China. The people diagnosed with the coronavirus in mainland China include 19 foreigners, NPR Emily Fing reports. So, ladies and gentlemen, China is actually kind of sore that the US have this travel, restrictions up, being that they're trying to say most of the country don't have the coronavirus. Well, as of now, y'all, it may be that way. But you can best believe this thing is definitely going to continue to spread. If you went from 4,400 a week ago and you're already over 20,000, then you definitely, and this is in less than a week. So you definitely don't have this under control. In this case, I do agree with the US for the travel restrictions. And in fact, if anything, they need to be even more harsher to have been cured and discharged. All right, so they're talking about two people with the coronavirus. At least 37 airlines have said they are reducing or suspending all flights to and from China as the death toll from the new coronavirus continues to rise. The number of countries include the US, have arranged charter flights to evacuate people from the outbreak epicenter in the city of Wuhan, repeatedly screening passengers to reduce the chance of the virus spreading. As their citizens arrive home, those countries are placing them under quarantine or other restrictions. Australia, which has 12 confirmed cases. Wow, I didn't even know that. Of the deadly coronavirus, is embarking on a controversial plan to send several hundreds of its citizens who were evacuated from Wuhan to a mandatory 14-day quarantine in a detention center on Christmas Island. The Immigration Detention Center operated from 2003 until late 2018 and has been the site of numerous cases of abuse and unrest. Journalist Rachel Gennaro reports from Melbourne for NPR Newscast. She adds, it's been a pillar of Australia's increasingly restrictive immigration policies, which aim to deter refugees arriving by boat from seeking asylum. There are thousands more cases of the coronavirus than there were of SARS during an outbreak in 2003. But for now, the death toll from the new coronavirus is less than half of the toll from SARS, 774. Wow. The US health officials are urging Americans not to overreact to the coronavirus. We do not currently recommend the use of face masks for the general American public. All right, so, you know, well, with 11 people, you really don't have to do that. But we will see, especially as the season change, if this thing will accelerate even more in warm weather. That's what I'm curious to find out. In an effort to limit the virus, the Trump administration on Friday declared a public health emergency in the US. The action requires many American citizens who have recently been to Wuhan, Hubei province, to spend 14 days in quarantine when they return to the US. Wow. The move was announced after the Center for Disease Control and Prevention placed 195 Americans who were evacuated from Wuhan, China, under a mandatory 14-day quarantine at a military base in California. Those passengers had initially been subject only to a 3-day holding period. Well, now they got to stay 14 days. Mm-mm-mm. While the Wuhan respiratory illness has dominated headlines with its fast spread, health experts in the US say that right now the influenza or flu virus poses a greater potential risk to Americans. Well, that's nothing new. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've seen this map before. So they're just showing you where the biggest infection is, and that's in Wuhan. And China built these. One hospital was done in 10 days, and they have a second one that they are building just for these coronavirus patients that are there. I think what they're doing, they're just isolating them to facilities without, they don't want them in other hospitals where people may not have these kind of illnesses. So it's kind of a smart move. You're just isolating everybody to one location or two locations, and that's it. So, wow. So just make sure you keep your immune systems up, ladies and gentlemen. There's all kinds of ways you can do that. That's what I would recommend to everybody. For yourself, for your families, you want to do the typical things you should be doing. Washing your hands, make sure you get some supplements in every day, and try to stick with a good diet, because if you're not eating as much junk on a regular basis, that's also another way to keep your immune system strong. But y'all, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this thing. So 427 deaths so far, and this is in a short period of time. It really is. Just like it went from 4,400 and exploded all the way up to 20,000 in just a week. I mean, this thing really does move fast. But y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.